Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to the Next Level Podcast. My name is Brenden Kumarasamy. I'm the founder of MasterTalk. And today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing my very good friend, JD Allen. For those of you who don't know, JD is a multifamily real estate investor. I've learned so much from him over the years, and he's built a really successful business and brand around teaching others how to invest in real estate properties. But beyond that, JD's just such a humble guy. He's had so much experience in the US Marines as well, and he's just lived a lot of cool experiences. And I'm just really excited to talk to you and interview you today.
Hey, how you doing, Brenden?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing well. Excited for this day.
Hey, excited to have you, man. Excited to have you. So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
Obviously there's so many things I could focus on this interview, but really what I want to get started is talk about the first real estate property that got you excited about this industry.
Yeah, the first real estate property I bought was a duplex. And I remember going up and actually looking at it and got pretty excited because it had a lot of features to it. It was up in the mountains. It was this long driveway, maybe a mile up to get to the top of this mountain, beautiful scenery and everything. It was just a beautiful project. And I was able to go in and renovate it. And I remember what it looked like when I was done and how everyone was excited just to move into this property. And I knew then that I could see the smile on their faces and the way I felt about it, this was going to be a passion for me.
That's amazing. Yeah, like you and I know the story, right? The duplex and how that started. I know you had a couple of challenges along the way. But what is it about real estate in particular that made you go, besides the income you're generating? Because you could have made money 1,000 different ways.
Right.
So what was it about real estate in particular that got you really pumped up about really focusing your time and energy in this space?
So originally I was doing a lot of stuff in the stock market. And I was noticing that in the stock market, every time I thought I was going to do really well, I was losing money. And so I started researching the multifamily space, and I quickly learned that I could control how the multifamily, how it was going to increase in value. And when I pushed money into it and I was able to make it I could control the expenses and control the income, I knew then that the value was based on my work, and I knew I was going to work hard, so I was going to be successful.
Yeah, really powerful. I agree with the point about controllability, because that's something in my business that I'm lucky that I have, because if you can't control the keys to your own kingdom,
right,
well, it's really hard to control the result.
100%. It's a completely different ball game, because if you can control it, you can make so many things happen. I mean, it's up to you. You can't blame anybody else. You're either successful or you fail on your own terms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you definitely succeeded. Building on this, of course, stepping a little bit forward, you've built a very successful coaching practice that's really gaining a lot of steam in the industry around multifamily flips. So just for context for the audience, most multifamily investors, people who are in that space, they typically recommend a strategy of buying and holding, like some of our mutual friends.
Yeah.
Whereas your strategy is very unique in the space where you're actually advocating to buy 7, 8, 9-figure properties and then actually flipping them for a profit. Walk us through the thesis of your program.
Yeah, so my biggest thing is I believe in the penny theory. And the penny theory, it's every single day, if you were to flip a penny, you're going to end up with millions of dollars, right? And I view the apartment complex as exactly the same. So I want velocity of money. And what I mean by that is I will invest, let's say I invest $100,000 today. Over the course of a year, I want that $100,000 to double. And at the end game is it's exactly the same as the penny. Do I want $1 million today, or will I take this penny and flip it every day for 30 days? So what ends up happening is you can flip this property for, let's not call it a flip. I'm calling it bounce. Let's just be clear on that. I call it a bounce method. But once I hit a year and a day, I know that I can maximize my taxes because now I've got long-term capital gains. I know that I'm planning to take that $100,000 or $1 million, whatever it is, and my goal is to double it that year. And over the long term, my goal is to be sitting where we're, 100,000, 200,000, 400,000. We're going to follow it just like that method. And at some point, I will own my properties by myself, and the value will be in the tens of millions of dollars. And that's the goal.
I love that. I love that penny theory. I've actually never heard of this theory before.
Yeah.
But you're right. When you double pennies and you just keep that doubling function going, at some point, which is the realization you came to, is like,
yeah,
I can't really double the money anymore if I just hold the property.
Right. The biggest thing is you don't take the money and spend it on a brand new car or go buy a house or do something crazy like that. This money that you start with, you keep it into the real estate, and there's ways of maximizing taxes. You can even do a 1031 exchange, and in a 1031 exchange, you don't have to pay taxes on that. You roll it immediately into the next property. And it's a lot bigger conversation, but it's definitely a way to avoid paying taxes for 15, 20, 25 years, and you're in very, very good shape at the end of this. The other thing that I've seen is that individuals that will oftentimes purchase just on cash flow, what they start to find is, the tax rates are going up, insurance rates are going up, all of these things are increasing, so their cash flow doesn't really increase as much because all of the other expenses are increasing at the same time. So,
yeah, a lot of different aspects around that.
right.
And I think what I'm the most curious about today, because I'm sure somebody else will interview on those real estate technicalities. One thing I find really unique about your journey, JD, from my perspective, is in your shoes, you don't really need to teach this to anyone else.
Right.
You've already succeeded. You've already made a great amount of wealth for yourself.
Yeah.
Even you coaching it is not even a profitable endeavor that much for you relative to the income you've already made. So I guess the bigger question is, like, why are you passionate about coaching this to other people? What's your deeper why there?
I love working with the students. I love seeing them. So I had a wrestling club. I'm going to use that let's explain it that way. One of the things that I loved about the wrestling clubs, I could see these young kids that were struggling. And then over the years, I could watch them grow and become a different version of themselves. And they were so, it made me feel good. It made me feel good. And I still love to see them being successful today. So the same thing applies in the real estate journey. The reason I like teaching is because I truly enjoy seeing someone be successful. And it's heartfelt. I love it. And I love watching their faces when things are coming along really well.
That's amazing. Is there a story in particular of somebody that you helped? Because I know you've mentored so many people, but is there one story in particular that really inspired you to say, I don't just want this to be a one-on-one thing. I really want to scale this movement beyond just me.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if there's one in particular story at this point, but I do believe that I have been involved in transforming a lot of different people. And so even to the point where I've challenged people, let's use this way. I remember about 2 years ago, there were a group of us, we were sitting at dinner, and they kept saying they didn't think that they could do this. They didn't think that they could flip this property. And I challenged them. I said, let's make a bet right now. Within 60 days, I want you to put something under contract. We will make a bet that we're going to do this. We're going to make these calls. We're going to push through it. Every single one of us had a property under contract within that 60 days because we were making the phone calls, we were putting in the work, and we were holding accountability to each other. I thought that was amazing. It just goes to show that if you're really putting the work in, you can make it happen.
I love that. And I remember you told me that story too.
Yeah.
And it was really powerful. And it really just goes to show, like, when you trust the process and you pick the right person to learn from, which is you in this case, you're able to get those results.
Right.
Two last questions from me, JD. One is, something that I found is really unique, from your side, from my side as well, like you being my friend for so many years. Man, your discipline is just out of control. Not just in the context of the story you gave, because you're so humble, right? Like
Yeah.
even every morning, you're always sending video messages to your friends. You're always going for a walk. You're always running. You're really consistent, like
Yeah.
in every habit. Honestly, I could ask you questions about just that piece in your life for an hour. But for just the purpose of today, if you had to give one advice that you feel isn't often talked about, discipline, that's made you the person you are, what would you share?
I feel like I was floundering a little bit at one point, and the reason I was is because I wasn't structured. And we get into this mode of social media and all of these things because we don't have a structure. I truly believe that. So my days normally consist of I do an hour of reading in the mornings. I go on my walks. I have these 15 to 30 minute increments throughout my entire day, and I wrap up my day with reading. And it helps me to mentally stay away from TVs and social media and all of these things that I think puts us in this box. And so I don't struggle with some of the things that people get wrapped up in. That doesn't happen to me because I stay away from it.
Love it. Like it's the distractions.
It is a distraction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you're avoiding.
People feel they're restricted when they put a schedule in place. And I think it's the opposite. I think we get more freedom when we put a schedule in place.
Tell us more about that. I want to hear more about that.
When I schedule time to do things, and I think I am actually a little introverted, and so when I schedule myself to do things, it forces me, okay, I'm sitting here at 5 o'clock. I need to go do such and such, right? Whereas if I don't have that schedule, then I can feel myself being lazy and not wanting to do things too. It doesn't allow me to get out there and actually interact with people. Yeah.
I totally agree. And it's almost like scheduling creates freedom.
Right. It does. I get a lot of freedom. Yeah. Even when I go on trips, I schedule everything out. I mean, it's very, very regimented.
Absolutely, JD. Man, this has been a super fun conversation, JD.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to speak to me. And there's a lot of great nuggets that came out of the show that I think will help a lot of people.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.